Hi, everyone. This is Alex Milstein. I'm the editor-in-chief of Betting News Now, and this is Bet Ed Now, bite-sized bits of betting industry knowledge. Today, my guest is Eugene Alletto. He is the CEO of Bedgear. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Eugene. I'm really glad to have you on the show.
It's good to be here. It's good to be here, especially knowing that you're not getting much sleep these days after having that newborn at home. So,
Yeah, it's pretty ironic working in the betting industry and not getting sleep yourself, but
exactly. It'll happen for you. Don't forget, you can die from lack of sleep faster than food or water. So just keep that in mind.
yeah, that's very true. Well, speaking of declining and dying, let's talk
Yeah.
about the hard truth in the industry, which is the declining state of retail. So tell me a little bit, with your kind of 30,000 foot view, what are you seeing in terms of the retail landscape today for mattresses?
So what's interesting is we almost forgot that we were living during a pandemic, both post as well as during. And I think a lot of what happens in any world is you never want to go backwards. So I think a lot of what we have out there is change of behavior happened a lot in all of our lives. If you go back to, pre-pandemic, we had somewhat of a pretty stable economy. We had a pretty stable sort of growth trajectory for our industry. It wasn't great, it wasn't bad. Everybody wants to grow 25, 30% a year, of course. But if you look at our industry, historically speaking, in terms of the dollars, not the units, you will see that, you get 3, 4, 5%, 6% growth, which is a lot of reason, I think, why the private equity firms go into these roll-ups of companies, because they can chart sort of like where the world is going. If they can buy them at a reasonable price and get good cash flow, it was intriguing to a lot of these private equity firms. And then
Mhm.
if you kind of normalize what's happened with this big spike in free money by the government, people don't want to go to work anymore. They just want to hang out home, and buy stuff all day long. That changed a lot of behavior. So, what I would share, just as an overarching way of kind of diving into the topic, is let's just be realistic on pre pandemic. And then let's kind of think about what behaviors really changed during the pandemic in terms of where consumers shop and what they shop for. So that would be my first way of kind of being analytical about it. As it relates to our industry, we're always the ones that feel it first, and we're the ones that feel it last. So that means we know when some shit's coming down, because people can delay mattresses and furniture all day long in their purchases. It's
Mhm.
not a necessity in a lot of people's lives. Now, I do feel that the younger generation, thank God, is starting to recognize the value of sleep. And I do see that there's more conversations around it for the first time, way beyond what the mattress manufacturers would love to talk about in terms of sleep and wellness. The
Mhm.
industry hasn't done a good job of presenting that, but the medical side of things, people are not drinking as much, people are focused on their health and wellness. So I think that there's this big group of people, younger people specifically, that are inspired to go to bed earlier and wake up more refreshed. So I think there's this little pocket of stuff happening that's for our future state. Now, how we get there is going to be what's interesting by brand and by retailer. Where I think our decline at traffic stems from is there was a huge amount of stuff bought during the pandemic. Like we had a year's worth of business pushed into every month, right? So you were doing, like years worth of business. No matter what kind of stuff you brought in, there was somebody that was going to buy it from you. And it wasn't even about how good the product was. It was all about, could I get it and could I get it today? So you
Mhm.
had this pull into a short period of time, a lot of business. And then you now have inflation, you have tariffs, you have the world coming to an end with the election. You had a lot of things that have headwind. And so people have prioritized different purchases in the last 18 months. And that means more travel. If you've ever been to the Charlotte airport or New York airport or LAX, people are spending a ton of money on travel. Restaurants, the low end restaurants might be struggling, or if you go to some of the more expensive, more experiential restaurants, they're doing great. If you try to go to Disney, people are booking Disney a year out. Well, if you thought it was doom and gloom, would you be booking a trip to Disney, 12 months from now?
Mhm.
So the fundamentals of our world still show relatively positive outlook for the future state. However, our industry is in that rolling sort of cycle of a major decline because housing has slowed down, people aren't selling or buying, interest rates are high. We've heard all of that. but I think it's fundamentally not an exciting space. And those have been historically what drives the overall furniture and bedding business. I think the future state is less about just the housing and less about the interest rates. And it's more about how the consumer feels about our category. And if our retailers continue to have either a boring online experience and a boring in store experience, and if the retailers and the wholesalers don't start to talk about the intrinsic value of the home and how we integrate ourselves into the home, it's going to be a constant rolling sort of economy when it comes to our world. So this decline in traffic is a real problem. However, there's two factors that are overlooked often. One is people that go to stores today, their intent to buy is significant. When I started, 20 plus years ago, people went to stores to determine what they were going to buy on the weekend. So the traffic during the week was a lot of tire kickers, checking things out, seeing what things are going,
Mhm.
paying attention to the sales. And then ultimately, they were going to go and make a final decision on the weekend of this month or next month. We don't have that desire or need because we have our phones, our iPads, and the ability to shop online to get a sense of where we may have the intent to go purchase in the future, even
Mm.
if it's a short term. So we've lost that level of traffic. By the way, if you go back and ask your retailers, what was your close rate? 20%, 25%, 30%. So that means you had 100 people coming in for 30 people to buy. Well, what's the
Mhm.
close rate today? I talked to some retailers, their close rates are above 50, 60%. So all of a sudden, we're saying the traffic is down, but if I'm selling more of the people coming in because they have a higher intent and they've already done their homework, you're not doing so terribly as it relates to traffic because it's relevant traffic, it's high intent traffic. So that's one thing. The second thing is our industry sucks at reporting numbers. I don't believe that the numbers we get from the trade publications or from wherever we come up with these manifested numbers, I think they're incorrect. And I think we've lost a hell of a lot of the smaller dollar mattresses. However, what we don't realize is that we think we lost units, like huge units. Now, someone told me these units are the same as what they were back from 1996. So I said, well, where did you get that number from? And they're looking at public trade publications and they're trying to figure out what the units are.
Mhm.
But the majority of the direct to consumer business is not at all well documented. There are mattresses being sold every day out of someone's small, garage that makes like 10 mattresses a year. And those are not getting picked up. Now, I'm being facetious, but there is a lot of units being sold that we're not reporting. So I don't know how many units we've lost in terms of compression of the
Mhm.
market due to this, but my gut tells me we may not have lost as many units as we're reporting. So between the lack of real clarity to what the units are and to who's shopping at retail today and who the intent is, I'm not so sure that the traffic that we're looking for is ever coming back. So think about that for a moment and ask yourself, okay, well, if this is the traffic I have, how do I increase the traffic that I have to have more of those high intent people? And then how do I attract people that are online that would be willing to come into a store if I had a reason for them to be here?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think we're, as cliche as it might be to say, we're in a new era of retail now. And, with all of the online companies that have popped up and even, the ones that have really made themselves prominent and gone into brick and mortar retail stores, it's still hard to tell the exact unit amounts with all of the brands that are popping up every day. So yeah, I think you're definitely right. It's not as much about how many people come in, and that may not ever be the same as it was, but it is about capturing those customers that do come in and really adding value to what you do. So, I think that's a great kind of segue into how can retailers kind of overcome this declining retail traffic, and that is adding value. So, what are some ways that you see that retailers can add value to their stores, their products, their brand?
Yeah. So the good news is, we don't focus on just making stuff as a company. I think the success that Bedgear has had is that we are retailers at heart. Most of us here spent majority of our beginning of our careers in retail, either
Mhm.
at selling or buying or merchandising or marketing. And so we're always thinking about the consumer, not about who we're going to sell our product to, what's the next furniture store we're going to open. So we're really highly focused on the consumer. And what we're thinking is if a consumer is willing to put on a pair of pants, get in a car, drive to a store, and that's their behavior, then that customer has already in their mind realized that they could not make a good decision independent of laying or touching or feeling a product. So if you know that, the thing that our retailers need to start doing a better job of, and some of them are started, some of them are in the middle, some of them are on the beginning, and some of them are doing well, and that is to understand the persona of your consumer. There's too many retailers that spend too much time saying, I have to sell everything to everybody. And if you don't pick a very clear, delineated difference of who you want in your shop, in your store, and you don't go out to get them, it's going to be very clouded in terms of your digital marketing and the way you look online and in store. So
Mhm.
if you look at like a Bedgear, we focused on a very clear customer. If you're somebody that wants to be sleepy, if you're somebody that wants to be checked out and is like not really in the mood to be alive and running around the world, like just hacking away at life, you're probably not going to like Bedgear. You'll never see anybody sleeping on any of our product. You'll never see people like looking comfy and just with their eyes closed in any of our ads. You always see people getting out of bed, never getting in bed. And we say we're the bedding company when you want to be more awake. So we focus on the awake time. That means active lifestyle, not just a 20-year-old, but a 90-year-old. It doesn't matter by age. We want to inspire people to get out of bed, not get in bed, right?
Mhm.
So why do I bring that up as an example is that that's a highly concentrated marketing message. It's a highly concentrated product message. And then when we go out to our retail partners, we bring that same level of energy and we bring that same level of education to the retail sales associate so that when they walk up to our product, they have an opinion that they can share like, oh, this is product that is fit to your body type, your sleep position, and your temperature. That's what Bedgear is focused on. We have strong brand promise and an opinion. And that gets voiced throughout our entire digital marketing and our product brand. Now let's talk about a general furniture store that sells mattresses. They have 50, 60 slots on their floor. The manufacturers buy slots like, hey, you give me 10 slots, I give you this much money. You give me 3 slots, I give you this much money. So they
Mhm.
buy the slots. They then have to merchandise the assortment within slots that have been purchased. The overall store looks the same as everybody else. There's, white rectangles, drape and pole headboards, a footer, and a bunch of decorative pillows on the back of the bed. That's
Mhm.
the experience. So now you've made it more difficult for a customer to navigate those assortments. There's really, other than top-down selling or by comfort, by ass appeal,
Mhm.
that's what every single retailer does. Now, there are some retailers that will try very hard to give a unique opinion. And that would be like if you go to Jordan's Furniture, they have a machine called Bridget, it's unique and different to them. Nobody else does it that way. We
Mhm.
have a machine that like Sleep Fit on California and Kokonis in Ohio, and now several new retailers where you get into a booth and in 30 seconds, it does a biomechanical engineering project where it takes all your dimensions and it recommends a number. And then our retailers organize their floors by number so that they can easily help the sales team navigate the customer. These are in-store experiences. Then the most important thing is if I have to do all the heavy lifting when the customer shows up in my store and I'm the first person, the salesperson, to explain what I'm going to do to you as a consumer, you're asking me to do all the heavy lifting as the retail salesperson. What we've been telling our retail partners, owners of these major billion-dollar retailers, is why are you not promoting sleep as a destination in your store? Bed Bath & Beyond, we all know, sold all the most expensive top of bed. Nobody else does it. So now Tempur-Pedic is selling Walmart pillows.
Hmm.
Why is
Yeah.
Tempur-Pedic doing that? Because they lost 70 or $100 million in pillow business at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
Our retailers, they do shit to promote top of bed products. So you have these big stores that have all vertical space, and I got to fight tooth and nail to get that vertical space, which is basically free. I said,
Mhm.
give me those walls. Let me get those walls to start doing some talking. Create some in-store experience, get online digitally and say, we are your destination for all things of sleep. We're a one-stop shop. You come here, we're going to fit you for 100% of your comfort. Why
Yeah.
are they not doing that? It's not logical. Instead, every day they just promote mattresses, $800 off, free base, free pillows, free, free, free. And
Hmm.
all they're focused on is selling a freaking mattress, not creating an experience. And you want me to put my pants on and get in my car for what I could basically find in every single corner of this world? So
Hmm.
I ask you to like wake up and start to realize what you can do to optimize the consumer that's willing to put their pants on and get in the car. But Alex, you got to get the retailers to tell that story digitally, not just put a mattress on sale for $800. It just doesn't drive that same excitement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. If you're going to start online and you look at all these mattresses and then you go into the retail store and the experience is basically the same, that person just regretted leaving the house, Like you're saying, if they put pants on to go and physically go see this product, that's a huge opportunity for retailers. And, the sleep system is just something that I keep hearing over and over again. I think some retailers have it. I think some retailers are still figuring out. And I want to, say to your point that they do need to kind of tell the story in the store. And that does oftentimes start with the RSA. And it can be hard, to get the RSA really on board with that. But that's kind of the challenge that I see a lot of retailers facing right now is getting their RSAs to understand the sleep system and how to talk to a customer about it and, how to really fit them for their best night's sleep and not just sell a couple of products.
So, Alex, think about you and I are talking about the same thing, where our barrier of entry is the retail floor and the sales team.
Mhm.
But you're asking, and I'm a retail sales guy. That's where I started my career. You're asking me to do all the work. You're asking me to do all the work. You want me to tell the
Mhm.
customer everything and sell them that way and put a pillow under their head. And you want me to be the first time to introduce that to every customer. Why are you, Mr. Store Owner, why are you not supporting that behavior with your digital marketing and your online presence? Why are you not taking an extra little piece in every single ad you put out there for mattresses and sleep products? Why are you not telling that story? Why are you not helping me, your RSA that you keep telling me, get trained, sell more? You got to optimize the ticket. There's less traffic in the store. You got to sell higher price. There's less traffic in the store. You got to add more to the ticket if you want to make more. And I need you to sell protectors. I need you to sell sheets. I need you to do, I need you to, I need, well, it's not my store. Why don't you make my life a little easier? I'm not the barrier of entry. And I'm being over the top intentionally because I go back 30 years when I sold mattresses and furniture at retail on the weekends. And I always remember just I had to sell furniture protection. If I dropped below 70%, I would get written up. If you got written up 3 times, you'd get thrown out the back door. Now, if you were $1.5 million writer, your store manager would fight for you because he can't afford to lose you. I've been doing this for a long time. Nobody's realizing that it's as easy as explaining to the consumer what you can expect when you come in to work with our RSA. We're going to fit you for a pillow, a set of sheets. We're not going to just send you home with 70% of your comfort, which is what your mattress is. We're going to guarantee 100 days, 120 days. But the way we do that is we're going to fit you when you come into a store. Where if you go online, good luck. That's why 25-30% of the mattresses get sent back and thrown in a landfill. But if you want to just be certain on what you're purchasing, come on down the street, take a couple of minutes with our sleep coach in our store, and we will make sure that you go home extremely happy. And if we do a bad job, then we'll give you 120 nights. But we can't afford to have those beds come back. And our in store is 2, 3, 4, 5% return rate on comfort exchanges. Online is 25 to 30%. You do the math, Mrs. Consumer. You want to take the risk of being home and then sending it back and getting another mattress and then having to figure out what pillow goes with that mattress and what pair of sheets. You don't have to waste your time. It's quicker. Just hop on down here, take 20 minutes with one of our sales team. We're going to get it right the first time. And we feel so good about it that we're going to give you 120 nights. That's the pitch. You want to
Yeah.
drive more traffic? You want to help your RSA grow the ticket, get more people to add to the ticket, show the value so that when the customers are shopping for sleep products, that you show up. Most of our retailers don't show up for pillows or sheets or anything other than mattresses in Google search. Why? Because they don't have anything like blog posts. They don't have their tagging correctly on their website. They don't put the effort into all the ancillary items because they treat them as add-ons. These are not add-ons. These are essentials. Everybody sleeps with sheets and protectors and pillows.
Mhm.
Everybody. And they all buy it when they buy a new mattress. Why are they not buying it from you?
Great question. Well, yeah, I think that's a lot of really great stuff to think about. We could talk about this all day, but we've
All
run out
day.
of time. So, yeah, no, I think that's great advice that retailers can take today. Make everybody's lives easier, know your customer, and don't put it all on the RSA. I think that's a great message. So,
Awesome. Good spending
okay.
time with you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eugene. Good talking to you.